evening, people of the HQ universe, quiz lovers, gamers, 80s aficionados, pop culture beasts, and everyone in between. Welcome to HQ Trivia. It's Thursday, it's theme night, and tonight's theme is, of course, the 1980s, the decade that brought so many of the things we love, computers, synthesizers, mobile phones, and big hair into the mainstream. I'm Beric Livingstone, and tonight I'm paying costume tribute to a UK musical icon who had some of his first big hits in the 80s, including 8 singles simultaneously in the top 40 and 2 consecutive number ones. A man who's gone on to sell over 50 million records and who's still making music and touring. One of the few artists who created a new, instantly recognizable visual style. It is, of course, Adam Ant. What better image of the decade than someone rebellious, flamboyant, and hugely successful? So, I wish you success and a ridiculous amount of fun as we travel through the 80s with 12 questions, ranging from easy to hard. 10 seconds for each and £1,000 to be won or split if you can get all 12 correct. Use those extra lives to stay in the game. You never know when you might need them. Deploy them wisely. 1 per game except on the final cue. And if you missed our 2 big announcements earlier this week, then stick around because I will share them again during the game. All right, without further ado, let's go on to Q1. Which of these was a popular range of children's dolls in the 80s? Brussels sprout aunties, potato peel granddads, Cabbage Patch Kids. This is the era of Care Bears, Strawberry Shortcake, Hello Colour, but who were the stuffed Supremos? Children usually hate veggies, but which one of these did they go crazy for? Harvesting billions in units sold, it was Cabbage Patch Kids. Yes, 20 million sold in 1984 alone, 75,960 of you getting that right. The doll brand was one of the most popular toy fads of the 80s and one of the longest running cabbage franchises in the world. Now, if you haven't heard, we're doing something very special this Sunday. We call it The One. Because for the first time ever in the UK, we're running our first Sunday show, the 9 p.m. show, with £5,000 worth of prizes, but all of that prize will be going to just one person. We will keep asking questions till just one of you is left. Will you be the one? Will one of your friends be the one? Find out Sunday night. On to Q2. Lawrence Turode is better known by which of these names? Mr. Coffee, Mr. Tea, Mr. Eggnog. Lawrence Turode. Some people believe he's the Laurence Olivier of 80s TV, and many more don't. All of these answers are making me thirsty, and I pity the fools who got this wrong. It's Mr. T. Mr. T, suckers, and 73,131 of you knew that. 986 going for Mr. Eggnog. He's a lesser-known star, of course. Now, Mr. T is best known for portraying Clubber Lang in Rocky III and B.A. Baracus in the A-Team. He was also a pro wrestler, partnering Hulk Hogan for a time. This week's other big news is that we are launching a new game called HQ Sports. If you're a sports fan, be sure to tune in for that. It'll run between the big matches on Sunday. The start time is 2 p.m. and we have a brand new host, Tyler West. He is an amazing presenter and sportsman. He's a YouTuber. He is fantastic. So seriously, do not miss that show. That is Sunday at 2 p.m. Onwards to Q3. Which popular 80s term described a wealthy young Londoner pursuing a fashionable lifestyle? Regency dandy, Sloane Ranger, Essex man. Yeah, this term brought to infamy by Harper's and Queen. The 80s were all about big money, big hair, and big shoulder pads, but which one of these was a big pop culture term? More cowboy than fop, it's Sloane Ranger. The Sloane Rangers, 37,446, if you got that right. I would say this was a pretty beastly question. We lost nearly half of you there. Originally popularized by the British writers Peter York and Anne Barr in the book Style Wars, and then the Sloane Ranger Handbook that came out in 1982. Okay, with just under 40,000 of you left, let's go to Q4. A male model in a laundrette famously advertised what in the 80s? Pepsi, Ray-Bans, Levi's. Yeah, this was an ad first shown on Boxing Day in 1985, called a bit of a sensation. Spilling Pepsi may have brought the guy to the laundrette, but he was, of course, advertising Levi's. Yeah, did you hear it through the grapevine? It doesn't matter where you heard it. 35,259 if you got that right. Nick Kamen made hearts swoon and sales rise when he stripped off in the famous ad, which went on to be much parodied. Kamen went on to have a pop career. He was taken under Madonna's wing. Meanwhile, sales of Levi's went up 800% following the ad, and then demand outstripped the supply, and they had to open another factory. Q5. Which of these 80s TV stars recorded a cover of the Beatles song I Wanna Hold Your Hand? Metal Mickey, Alf, Buck Rogers. Great song written in Jane Asher's basement, because Paul McCartney was dating her, I think. Its notable 80s covers include By Dollar and this one. Now, Metal Mickey, Alf and Buck Rogers, this spaceman, alien and robot team could have created a new supergroup. But sadly, the record we're talking about was just a solo. Rebooting the Beatles classic, it was Metal Mickey. Yeah, quite a singer, Metal Mickey. 13,852, if you got that right. That's the first savage question of the day because we lost 21,000 of you. 11,000 thinking Alf. 8,290 thinking Buck Rogers. No, it was Metal Mickey. Mickey Dolenz from the Monkees produced this classic hit show with 41 episodes and 12 million viewers. Q6. At the beginning of 1980, who was the leader of the Labour Party? Neil Kinnock, James Callaghan, Michael Foot. Yeah, it was an interesting time for Labour, beginning of 1980. After Mrs. Thatcher's victory in 1979, of course. These are three Labour legends, but who was in the leader's shoes in 1980? If you said Kinnock, then you must be kidding. It was James Callaghan. Callaghan, you believe it, 4,072. If you got that right in a second, savage question of the day with 11,626 eliminated. Although he was voted out as PM in 1979, Callaghan went on and continued to lead the Labour Party until he was given the boot in November 1980, and then succeeded by Michael Foot. Ironically enough. Q. Now, well, before we go on, let's have a quick hello to Joe in Brighton, to Sue and Abby in Blackheath, to Stephanie Bolton, to Daniel and Nick, to Adam, Aisha and Yasmin, to Charlotte and Roy, and a happy birthday to Anne. To all of you, good luck as we go on to Q7. According to one of its stars, which TV program was instrumental in the breakup of the Soviet Union? Miami Vice, Dynasty, Dallas. Yeah, three great 80s shows. Which was your favorite? I have a particular fondness for Airwolf and a sort of secret love of Automan, if anyone can remember that one. Manimal in the running there. Anyway, Miami Vice, Dynasty, Dallas, Crockett and Tubbs, well, they were too smart to have get involved in political revolution, but the Ewing family, it was a different story. It was Dallas. Dallas is the show that we were looking for with the greatest theme tune ever, 2,143 if you're getting that right. Should we call this savage? Let's say this is another savage question. Why not? Super savagery, 3,000 of you going out there. The show was broadcast in the Eastern Bloc as it was believed to be anti-capitalist. However, viewers appeared to aspire to the luxury lifestyle, and Larry Hagman, who played J.R. Ewing, said, yeah, it led to the downfall of the Soviet Union. Okay, Q8. Which of these was sold for the first time in the UK in the 80s? SodaStream machines, leg warmers, post-it notes. A decade of amazing innovation. We had the ZX Spectrum, we had the VIC-20, and these lot, an 80s starter kit would contain all of them. But only one would remind you to pack everything. Your sticky friend, it was the post-it note. The post-it note, yes, created by someone who was trying to create something really sticky, but he created something that wasn't sticky at all. 802 of you getting that right. Another savage one. 1,666 of you gone with that sticky question. The product was originally sold as Post-its in the USA in 1979 and was rebranded for the European rollout in the 80s. Okay, well, 163 people using extra lives to get back in. Quite a lot still to play for. Here comes Q9. Which of these items was originally going to be used as the time machine in Back to the Future? Skateboard, television, fridge. Love that opening sequence with all the clocks in Back to the Future. If you look closely, you'll see a clock with a man hanging from the minute hand, which echoes Doc's scene later in the movie, and of course, it's actually a tribute to a silent movie from the 20s, 1923, and you'll see it in 39 Steps. Interesting image. Anyway, if I were to skateboard, it would only take me back to the hospital. Getting a cold reception. It was a fridge. It was a fridge. Yes, a fridge is the right answer. 467 of you getting that right. Writers initially had a fridge in mind, but changed to a car, partly because they feared children would imitate the film and get stuck in the fridge. A whole generation of car thieves instead. Q10. What was the first video ever to be repeated on MTV? Money for Nothing, You Better You Bet, In the Air Tonight. MTV, of course, launched with Video Killed the Radio Star. And they have their own retro pop trivia show called Remote Control, which is very good. Now, despite its cool computer animation, you're in dire straits if you went for Money for Nothing. From the kings of the knock-knock joke, it's You Better You Bet. Yeah, you better you bet. 65 of you got that right. This was a super savage one. 461 eliminated there. Yeah, you remembered maybe the Money for Nothing video, but not The Who. It was The Who we were looking for. It features the band playing live, while In the Air Tonight is mostly a close-up of Phil Collins' head. Yeah, The Who, You Better You Bet, the first track to be played twice on MTV, or more than once. Anyway, Q11. Of these countries, which was the only one to join the European Union during the 80s? Greece, Denmark, Austria. Now we have tested your UK political history. Now we're testing your EU political history. Yes, at one point the EU was expanding. And in the 80s, one of our favorite holiday destinations joined. It was Greece. Greece is the word. Have you heard? 46 of you heard that. I won't call that savage, but I'll call that pretty beastly for this time in the game. Denmark joined almost a decade before Greece, and Austria over a decade later. Now, passports at the ready, because we're flying into the final round. Just 4 people using those extra lives to get back in, and 46 of you getting that Q11 right. So this is a very exciting moment with £1,000 still to play for as we go into Q12. Which of these figures helped fund the development costs for Spitting Image? Richard Branson, Clive Sinclair, Michael Heseltine. Genesis, the band, had a Spitting Image puppet featured video in Land of Confusion. And Genesis, of course, had Phil Collins, we referred to earlier, and they quite often perform with double drumming, as did one Adam and the Ant. Well, Adam Ant and his band, Adam and the Ants. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, now, of these 3, these are 3 British characters, and one of them brought a whole load of British characters onto our screens in the form of parody puppets. Now, Branson has branched out in many directions, but puppet satire would have been verging on the ridiculous. One of the better ideas from the man behind the C5 single-person vehicle. Do you remember that? Very dangerous. It's Sir Clive Sinclair for the win. And we have a broad spectrum, but only 24 winners tonight. "24 winners. This was a tough quiz. Yes, a lot of people think they know the 80s, but do they know it in depth, detail, and with certainty? Well, you, 24, do, and you will be taking home £41 and 67 pence for your brilliant victory. Huge congratulations to Jack Willow, to HV101, who's got a very nice kind of logo thing going on there, to KDD, it's very hard to read these ones, there's just lots of, it looks like a Welsh word, because it's got no vowels at all. It's a cat anyway, looking nicely wise. So well done to all of you, proving once again the 80s were the best decade. You guys stood and delivered. Maybe sat down and delivered. Either way, you delivered. Well done. I'm Beric Livingstone. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram. I'm at Beric Living on both. As I said, on Sunday we have HQ Sports launching and The One, where we give £5,000 to just one person. Don't miss those. Meanwhile, we're back tomorrow. Our next game is tomorrow night at 9 p.m, our regular round of trivia questions on all kinds of subjects. Hope you can join me then. For now, from me, good night.